I literally just inhaled a fly.
The most hilarious thing that has ever happened to me on live Amazon television.
Would you like to be Sway TV host?
Yes!
Here we go, here we go.
So many giveaways here at Sway TV. I'm ready to battle shop live. Yeah!
This is fun.
And one person's gonna win a PS5. Which one will it be?
Everyone is holding their breath.
I have our winner.
I'm so excited, I can't even stand it. I cannot make this up.
We are awarding you with the PS5 as well. What?
6, 5, 4, 3,
2, 1.
Talk to all your friends and your family. Let them know about Sway TV.
Thank you for being part of our community here at Sway.
Sway TV is here to stay. Thank you, Amazon.
Thank you, Sway TV.
Shop attainment all the time. We in the house, we having fun, we doing the thing, we swaying.
Here we go, it's for you!
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway!
Let's sway.
Let's sway!
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's sway.
Let's go, let's sway, stay tuned! Woo!
Happy Wednesday, everybody. I am Michelle Mitchell, and this is Navigating Life on Sway TV, Amazon's live streaming platform. I'm going to tell you, every time I get here on Wednesday, I think, why do I ever leave? Sway TV is the greatest community. It is one of the places that you can go to get information, to learn about products. And with my particular space that I have here on Sway, and I'm so grateful to have it, with our show called Navigating Life, I like to bring you guys everything mindful, stuff that's going to impact your life in a positive way and really uplift your journey, living those mindful moments that lead to a more meaningful life. And I believe that the way we can do that is by connecting and sharing information. There's so much information out there. And I actually got, hi Sammy, how are you? Thanks for joining. Oh, well, thank you. So is it my wind tousled hair that looks beautiful? Sammy says I look beautiful, and I think that it might be because I had the window down in the car. I might try that technique again. Thank you. So we do this thing at Sway where it's an all-inclusive space where we're wanting to learn about people and products and really provide that information to you to help you make the best choices that you can. And there's somebody that I have today that's my guest, and if you saw my Instagram, you know who it is. So today I have Ashley. And Ashley's not just your average Ashley. Ashley is a pretty magical being from what I understand, and she is the founder and CEO of Quilt. And so Ashley, I want you to say hi. I think everybody can see you on the screen now. Can everyone see Ashley? Yep.
Hi. Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You know, I wrote on my Instagram, I said, what is Quilt? And because that was my reaction when I heard the word quilt and, was told to, check it out, see what it's all about. It might be right up my alley, which it absolutely was 100%. So I was like, what is Quilt? So that's how I started the Instagram today, because I really want people to know about this. I want to share this information on this brand new platform that you have going on, because I think now is the time for us to reconnect and share information in like the deepest, most meaningful way. And I love that you focus on wellness and mental health and all these great things that are uplifting and will help us make like the best choices. So I was on there today, and I'm going to tell you, I listened on my way up from San Diego, and it was one great share after the other. And some of it didn't really even pertain to me, but just listening to the stories and listening to people's experiences in some way kind of changed who I was for the rest of the journey. Like, I gained something, even though it wasn't like super tangible. Like, oh, somebody shared something that was super, super interesting. So I want our audience to know, what is Quilt, and why did you start Quilt?
Yeah. Great first question. So thank you. It's so wonderful to be here, to spend more time with you and to spend time with your community. So Quilt is a supportive kind of peer-to-peer support social network. We have live, intimate, synchronous conversations, and really what makes Quilt special and brings people together is the love and curiosity for growth. Self-exploration, personal development, people that are really excited to grow on their journey. And we come together and we talk about everything from astrology and numerology and gene keys to career and purpose to, fashion and sustainable fashion and kind of everything in between. So it's an audio social network. And it hasn't always been that. So Quilt has been around for a few years. It started off as an offline community. I wanted to kind of translate the work that I had done for about a decade, which is building offline communities. I built a lot of social clubs and retreats around the world and social impact conferences.
Tell me, can I ask, because I'm really curious, because why, like, and I feel like this has been probably a Quilt conversation that I was not privy to, but that's such a do good thing to do. Like, where, and right now, you guys, I'm actually taking off my shoes because it's Quilt, and today is all about Quilt, and we're gonna get comfortable, and I've been sitting in the car, and so
yeah.
I'm
cozy.
I'm gonna get cozy right now here.
Yeah, let's do it.
On Sway TV.
I'm cross-legged.
Awesome. So what, who is Ashley? How did Ashley decide, hey, I want to be this great connector or this bridge or this conduit for people?
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
I've always been really curious about people, and I've always been really connected to feelings. A lot of the conversations I had as a child and growing up, I'd find myself talking more to my mom's friends and hearing their life stories and wondering how they were doing and really genuinely hoping that everyone around me would feel good. And I could oftentimes tell when people didn't. And I really felt like the solution was connecting people. This idea that we could bring people together and we could not be in isolation alone, going through these feelings or having any form of shame around it, but instead we could just talk about it. Why is there so much kind of shame or guilt to this idea that we're human and we all have feelings? So a lot of the work that I've done has just been a desire to bring people together so that we could feel together and not feel so alone and kind of, it's a little woo-woo, but raise the vibration. And we're in a mental health crisis. We were in one before 2020, but it's accelerated and it's worse now. And so I just keep kind of perpetuating this desire and this purpose to bring people together as a form of healing, spiritual healing and collaboration, and just to have fun together.
At what point did you say, oh, this could be a job? At what point were you like, I want to do all these great things, and let's connect, and let's party, and let's sit down, let's chat, let's have tea, let's do this. But at what point did you say, this could be a thing, this could be a job?
Yeah, so I got really lucky out of school. So I was a musical theater major at NYU, and really thought I would be performing for the rest of my life. And I randomly, but I needed to make money. I was a struggling actor and artist in New York City. And I fortuitously fell into the industry of matchmaking, romantic matchmaking. And, I just kind of got into it and showed up to it and got excited about it and realized I was talented at it. And so step one for me was just romantically connecting people and listening to thousands of people's stories and setting them up on dates and putting together dining experiences. So it started there. That planted the seed, and then it kept growing because I kept wanting to reach more people, have more impact, go beyond dating, and that's, you need technology to kind of go beyond one person doing the work.
So, did anybody actually get married and have like lifelong relationships?
Oh yeah,
Because
lots
of your
marriage.
efforts?
Oh yeah, lots of marriage, lots of babies.
Oh,
Oh
I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
So you've left your mark. So early on, it sounds like, because you look very young to me. So early on, you left your mark, and so was that the space where you were like, okay, I need to make some money, I need to survive financially, and then the whole dating thing happened. You're like, oh, connecting people is a job, could be a job, could be a business.
People paid for that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then,
And then I just kind of became really obsessed with the work. And one day I woke up, I spent 5 years matchmaking. And one day I just kind of woke up and realized I'd stopped auditioning, that it wasn't really, I wasn't even like doing this on the side. I was so enthralled and obsessed with the work. And, you know, you get such a good feeling. Like you set up people and they fall in love, or it's a really, lot of good feelings that come from being a matchmaker.
well, and I will say I've actually been to a matchmaker, so it's not, it doesn't just happen. You have to be somebody that is able to connect people. You have to be somebody that's able to listen to everybody and understand and kind of be able to decipher, you know, what are they really saying? What are they really wanting? What are they really looking for? And I think you have to be, you know, part life coach in the space to be able to have the conversations with them, you know, to carve that out. So I know that's not easy, and there were probably a lot of skills that you honed in that process.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was sitting there, you know, I was in my early to mid 20s at the time, and sitting there and talking with people from, you know, 20s to 70s, just hearing stories and really connecting to what it was that they wanted and what they, you know, coming out of relationships, what they've learned, what they're looking for, what their childhood trauma was. I mean, we really kept, I went very deep, and realized I loved going deep with people. I'm terrible at small talk. So it was a perfect first job. And I got to understand the world of startup and being scrappy and meeting people. And I was running around New York City, and, you know, I'm really grateful that was kind of the thing that landed on my doorstep.
I love that you said the word startup, because I think that, you know, in the last, you know, year or so, it's not that foreign thing that's on the outskirts anymore. It's like, you know, I'm talking with people and I'm meeting with people that, you know, have walked away from really like major positions in corporate. And my background, you know, started in corporate. And to see these people just kind of walk away and look, I know I'm going to do this because it's my passion. And, you know, and I'm like white knuckling it for them. Like, I'm like,
yeah, get really invested. Yeah.
Like, but your retirement, but your vacation pay, but your health insurance, like, you know, all these things, you know, come to mind for me. So then did you go on from that to create a startup yourself?
So
was that your next leap, or?
I had a matchmaking company. I had some partners, and we created a kind of matchmaking and dating social club in New York. And then from there, I went on and joined, there's a company called Noya House, which is a social club, like a creative social club and co-working space. It was in its earliest days, and I joined them and I ran community relations. I did a lot of work in bringing people together and structuring membership, and that was in New York, and we expanded to LA. And so I really got to understand what it was like to have, we had 100,000 square foot space. There were people inside of it. Everybody was hungry to connect with one another.
Wow.
You have to really kind of design what it means to become a member, what it means to stay a member, what it means to show up as a member. So that's really where I evolved, went from matchmaking to community. And that's where the title community developer started to come from. I started calling myself that. I guess I started calling myself that 8 years ago.
I like that, community developer, because I really think that's what you're doing. And then you got to, so Quilt didn't start online. I mean, Quilt didn't start as an app.
No, so no, not exactly. So if I fast forward through some of like the community development work that I did with a lot of these physical structures, Quilt started as this desire to essentially inspire people to open up their own homes to host conversations, experiences, and co-working out of their homes.
What happened in 2020? I mean, that just like
Evaporated.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
no. Strangers stopped gathering in homes March of 2020. Like so many other things that we stopped doing. I mean, yeah, it just stopped.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was, we had venture capital. We built technology to support the booking system that sat behind that. We were growing that. We had over 4,000 experiences out of homes.
That's a lot.
And then very vibrant community in California, and it was growing. And yeah, just
was that in LA?
Mm-hmm.
That Quilt, yeah.
It was in LA, yeah. So we were expanding kind of like neighborhood by neighborhood. It was very grassroots. There were like stores that would open that would host conversations. There were stickers in their doorway. I mean, it was just this really, it was kind of if you were to take Airbnb and Meetup and put it together, like it was Quilt. It was the safe space. People would open their homes, coming together for kind of talk circle like conversations or experiences.
I could see us getting back to that. I think the future's looking pretty bright, and I could see us getting back to that. So how did you take that and then take it to an app? Did you just wake up in the middle of the night and just go, oh, we can do this?
I mean, yes, it definitely is. It definitely takes bold confidence, I think, to shift so quickly and so aggressively in such a short period of time. I felt really clear that it was going to be at minimum a year, if not more, before we were coming back offline. And I think because I was clear on that very early, it allowed me to let go of what it had been to allow it to evolve into what it is now. And I thought a lot about online, and I spent some time last March on social media. So I haven't spent, like candidly, I haven't spent a whole lot of time on social media. And I spent a lot of time in March and April. And I realized one thing, which was I never felt good after I was on social media.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
I've heard this before. God.
Just like kind of doom scrolling, swiping. Yeah. Like I don't feel connected to people, I think is the biggest thing. So you think about social and you think about media, it feels a lot more like media than it does social. And I really felt like Quilt, quilting has kind of become this verb of coming together and having conversations that leave you feeling better than when you came in. And it just became really clear to me that we could evolve that into a platform that would be then available instantly for everyone. So you don't have to live in LA, you don't have to get in your car, you don't have to go to a home 2 weeks from now. You can just show up right now in this moment and get support and meet new people and learn something. And I became so excited about how instant that was.
Right.
That I very quickly let go of what Quilt had been so that Quilt could become what it is now.
Well, and it's like, because I'm on Quilt.
You are. We've quilted together.
We have quilted, and I love that because I'm gonna start a quilt. Yeah, a quilt. Which I was gonna do today, and I didn't because I ran out of time. But this week, before this week is out, I'm gonna start a quilt. And one of the tools in my toolbox is I'm a diversity and inclusion consultant. So I'm gonna start a really interesting quilt, and I think it's like I'm really excited. I
love that.
So how do they find you? Somebody sent me a link. Like they were like, check this out.
Yeah, so you can go to the App Store and type in Quilt, or you can go to wearequilt.com. Right now we're iOS only. So if you are Android and you want to sign up for Android, you can on our website. And then you download, and there's no kind of velvet rope or fancy carpets. Everybody is welcome. We have very strong values in how we show up and are kind and supportive to one another. And aside from that, my recommendation is to go in and, join a welcome to Quilt, join a how to host, join, conversations that are live, get a feel for it, and then use the experience so that you can connect with people and learn from people and not feel so alone.
Well, and and I love that, like, so I popped on and I was driving, so I really couldn't participate, but I was like listening, and they're like, "Hi, Michelle." I'm like, "Oh," you know, people love to hear their names. Like it's a sweet sound, you know, to us. So I thought it was really sweet. So I have your quilt values up here on my phone because I think they're super cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they're a ongoing work in progress.
So yeah, and I think everything is a work in progress. I think if anything has taught us that this last year, it's all a work in progress. It's never going to be done, and you can't get it wrong.
Yeah.
So care is like one of your top values. I'm kind to all people and welcome their experiences and perspectives. I love that. Collaboration. I'm here to connect and grow with the community, which I think is the foundation of all the stuff. It sounds like from a very long time ago, that's been your drive. Contribution. I share openly, offering support and understanding to others. And I've actually witnessed that in the quilt rooms. You know, that people really listen with empathy and a willingness to understand that person's situation. So that's awesome. And then curiosity, which if you noticed in the Sway clip, you know, we're like, get curious, because that was me and another host, Eden Sassoon, who's a good friend of mine, and we do meditations together, and I'm her mindfulness coach, and so, you know, we always come back to curiosity, and so I love this. I'm here to listen and learn from the community. So so I want to know, like, what your very first quilt, what was that? Like, did you do the very first quilt? Did somebody else do how did that go down?
Yes, I did the very first quilt. We welcomed on people that we really know embody these values, just like day in and day out, just lead with all of these. And so we kind of hand invited people on to welcome them in, and we were like, oh, what is this? I mean, it was a really fun thing, and we ended up doing an intimate discussion where we talked about. I asked the question, share something that you haven't said out loud yet. Like, what's something that's just in your head that you haven't said out loud yet?
Share something that you haven't said out loud yet.
It was so sweet. We spent a couple of hours. I mean, we really tackled, and, you know, somebody would say something, everybody else would be like, yeah, same, like me too, you know, and that's the beauty of, I think oftentimes, you know, the disconnection comes from thinking nobody else is going through that thing, or that it's just you, right? Our shame around money, or where we're at in our career, or how we've shown up as a parent or haven't, or why we're in a relationship that looks this way or not one at all. And then all of a sudden we realize, like, we're so human, and we can just talk about these things and be like, oh, you mean all of you have gone through that too? Yeah, most likely true. So that's kind of the basis of, you know, we're not a stage, it's not an audience, it's not about spouting expertise. It's really about sharing personal stories, asking questions, kind of just learning from one another.
What do you think, when you say, okay, something that you haven't said out loud yet, I love that, because I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal that from you, and I'm going to use that with my daughter. I think that would be kind of an awesome thing to do. But kind of in that same vein, because so my background is business and strategic planning, and then I layered on mindfulness on top of that, because I got to a point of, you know, 25 years of corporate leadership, and I'm like, we're missing something here. We keep working on the systems, we keep changing the flow of the building, we keep doing all these things, and we're like upping all, you know, we're going to the leaders and we're saying, we need this result, and this result, but we're not addressing them at all. So are they capable of doing that? Are they in the right frame of mind? What's going on with them? And, you know, and it's that old school thing of your personal is personal and your business is business. And so like you're going to walk through the door and magically your personal stuff's going to stay outside, and then like you're all business inside. And that's not true. You know, we are who we are wherever we go. And so mindful leadership is the space that I started to explore. And, you know, it was difficult, because I'm like, is this good enough? I'm no longer a strategic planner, right? I no longer have a seat at the table with a plaque with my name on it.
Yeah.
There's no place for mindful leadership person. Like it didn't, you know, there's no,
Yeah.
you know, it's more like, what is that? What, you know,
Yeah.
it's so soft. But, you know, I got into that space and I'm like, okay, this needs to change. And I was a team builder and all that stuff. So I started infusing all this mindfulness stuff into wherever I could. You know, it's like, oh, we're going to start our meeting with a breath. You know, like I would just kind of like start putting it in, and you know, and I would just push the envelope as far as I could. But with all that business background, when I decided to leave corporate, I was frozen in, I didn't know how to do my own business.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to your story and you're like, well, I was in the performing arts, but like you've done all this. So I'm really impressed, and I'm just curious as to that mindset and how you make that leap and what kind of incredible belief you have to have in yourself in order to do that.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. I mean, identity is something I care deeply about. This, you know, how we want to and choose to identify, and how we want to be seen, and what work we want to do, and what it means to name ourselves, to title ourselves, to introduce ourselves. Like, it's something we all deserve to have the right to speak to. And this one has definitely come up for me. I posted something that went viral last month. It's an image of me, and on top of it said, "I am a female founder," and I crossed out female. And it turned into 30 million views on LinkedIn. It turned into a cover story in the New York Times. Like, it turned into a whole, unexpectedly whole thing, because it was my first ever post on LinkedIn. So I remember.
Way to start it off, Ashley. Way to start
I was like, I was just curious if this like resonated. You know, it's something I have felt.
It resonates.
It's really something I have felt as a founder who is a woman who has been called a female founder now for many years, and being like, is this helping our cause towards equality, or is this causing more separation, more othering?
Right.
And I share that because it turned into a lot of quilts where there were lots of conversations kind of unpacking this and welcoming other perspectives. And someone in the community asked me, like, when did you first know you were a founder?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's a good question. I've thought a lot about this question since, and I had an emotional reaction that I wasn't expecting. I got like goosebumps and I teared up, and I was like, I honestly feel like I was born a founder.
I just got like goosebumps. Hold on. That's
It's the only thing I've been 100% clear on in anything, especially around identity, where I feel like I've been working on myself and evolving myself for so long, you know, learning the tips and the tools and taking the classes and downloading the apps and doing all of the things. But the thing I've just been so clear on is that I feel like a creator. Like, I feel like someone who can create things, wants to, and to be a founder. And really it makes sense then, if I'm going to go be called female founder, and I'm like, no, like, I'm a founder, right? And you can see me and you can identify my gender if you want to, but that's not what this is about in this moment. So I have to say, from a very young age, my mom reminds me how precocious I was and how communicative I was around like wanting to create things that are useful in the world. And that's just what I was born feeling.
So I mean, that's one part of the equation, is to say that, you know, that you knew from the get-go that you were a founder, and that you were going to create things, and that you were going to bring people together and all that. But along with being a founder comes great risk.
Yeah.
And because I'll tell you, that's where I stumble. Yeah. Because I know that I have so much more to offer, and it's that financial risk, that social risk, that all of that, you know. And do you just magically get past that? Does that ever pop up for you? Do you just go wake up in the middle of the night and go, what am I doing? And then by the morning you're like, I'm okay. I mean,
you know, so to be born with a clarity is one thing, but yeah, I mean, I think I definitely am. I am a fan of, I'm a natural risk taker and I'm comfortable in change and I'm curious to have new experiences. And, I just am kind of like obsessed with figuring things out. And some of that I think is, I didn't have the most stable childhood. I moved around a lot. I had a single mom who raised me. There was a lot of just like, there wasn't this like solid foundation in which I was like learning to grow from. I was kind of constantly trying to find, where do I belong? What makes sense? What does success look like for me?
Right.
So yeah, I think I am very comfortable taking massive, massive risks as a human being and believing that there's a privilege in this and I know that, but believing that that the universe, if I will, like has my back and that I'm going to be okay. Even if I fail, like I'm going to be okay because it's kind of what was lined up for me versus just like holding myself back from experiencing something. So when I go through those trade-offs, I just am like, I'd rather experience the thing.
Right. Well, I'm kind of holding my breath as you're talking, and not intentionally, but I just like clocked myself.
You just realize you stopped breathing.
Because because that's my I think that's so incredible, right? To be able to be so aware of that choice and make that choice, and for we have some people in our chat right now. Like I know that Rosalinda is in the chat, and she sits in on a lot of our streams, and she's always very loyal, and she's a mom. And she has several kids, and she's doing a great job as far as we can see here at Sway. And like when we've got people like that watching, and you're saying like, I'm a founder, like I knew I was a founder. I'm curious, Rosalinda, if you can just jump in the chat, and does that resonate with you? Like, are you just like, what you're doing, what your calling is? And just because somebody has started an amazing space like Quilt, you can still be a founder, and you can be a founder of a great family. You can be a founder, you can be a great mom. You can build that structure in. Louise, good morning. Louise is joining us from Australia. She is amazing. Another great mom, raising some beautiful kids. Louise, are you just joining us now? You're going to have to watch the replay because you're absolutely going to love Ashley. And we want to introduce you to Quilt because I know you would be awesome on Quilt and have a lot to offer and a lot to learn. So Quilt is an app. So I just want to let everybody know who's just joining us that I'm speaking with Ashley, who's the CEO and founder of Quilt, which is I don't know, what are we calling it? Because I don't want to say the wrong words because this is so specific.
No, it's an audio social network, so you can hop in and have live audio conversations. So there's no video, there's no images, there's no text. So you drop into live conversations on different topics in the self-care, wellness, mental health, purpose space with other people all around in different time zones. Yeah.
So Luis in Australia could jump into Quilt and.
So we have not completed getting into Australia yet. So we do have a list on wearequilt.com, and Australia's on our top 3 of first places to get, next places to get into. So we can collect the information.
Well, you got to get into everywhere because I absolutely love it. So Luis is saying, is it like Clubhouse? And I want to say I'm actually on Clubhouse as well. And the main difference I see, and then you can speak to it as well. And I love Clubhouse and I think it's great. But what I love is that Quilt is focused on wellness and mental health and well-being, and that's what you get. So, and kind of, I get a little bit lost on Clubhouse sometimes because there's a lot of things in there that don't pertain to my lane, and like purpose and like the conversations we're having today about, you knew you were a founder when, you know, from way back when, like when you were a kid, you just kind of intrinsically knew that that's what you were. Like those are the kind of conversations that I like to have. So that's what I love about it. And I think that what's great is that you've really like niched that out. And that's probably the biggest challenge for me a few years ago, when it was like, okay, well, now I'm going to leave corporate and I'm going to start my own thing. And then I'm like, oh, I want to do everything because I can do everything because I'm good at everything. And then it's like, no, you have to get really specific about what you're passionate about. And that's really what I like about Quilt is you can see your passion in it.
Yeah, it is. Thank you. No, it is a very specific space around, you know, it's inclusive, it's participatory. Yes, it's audio. So like Clubhouse, like Locker Room, like, you know, I know Facebook is launching it, Twitter Spaces is out. So audio is out, right? Audio is this feature, just like Instagram stories, you know, just like forums. You got Reddit, you've got Quora, like you have all of these different platforms. So it really becomes like, what's the community about and what do you go there for and what are you seeking? And I like to say quilting is like, going on Quilt is like being in a home with a group of people or a backyard or a dinner party or even being on a retreat, right? And for me, Clubhouse is more about like being at a conference, right? With a name tag on and there's like celebrities speaking and you're listening. So for us, it's a lot more interactive. We have live coaching, we have psychics, we're tackling astrology. Like,
I saw, what was it? Human design today. I was in there learning about human design.
Yep. So it's really like this act of like building out your self-care toolkit, really meeting people. You'll build relationships. You'll go really deep with people. And so we kind of wanted to make sure we weren't this like open platform for everything. Clubhouse is that it's like Facebook. It's open for everything. We're very intentional about the experience and what we talk about and how we talk with one another. So making sure that everyone feels really safe, which matters a lot to us, and included.
Well, and I love that you said, you know, making sure that everybody feels really safe, because in some of the spaces that I consult in, you know, you have to create this like psychologically safe space for someone to be wrong, for someone to be right, for everything, for all things. You really do have to create that, and that's so far what I've experienced. You know, and I've been in maybe like 4 or 5 rooms, you know, just over the last couple weeks, you know, popping in, and you know, just kind of checking out and seeing it, and that's really what I've seen there. So, do you create all this magic on your own, or do you have like an amazing team that does this with you, or what does that look like?
No, nothing. I do nothing alone. I have an amazing team. You know, we're under 10, so we're small. We raised a seed round of funding at the end of December, so we've been growing, and we're really excited about that. So we have engineers, product, and marketing. So we're pretty flat, but there's someone that's doing things alongside of me always.
And this is definitely a business question coming from me. So, you know, so as far as like funding to make this happen, so you had to sell somebody on this idea, or did this funding come from you?
Yes, I put a pitch deck together, and capital raised. Yeah.
And you had to walk in there and say, hey, listen, I believe in this idea through and through.
I did. Yeah. That's a really long journey. I've raised capital a few times. For this specifically, Mayfield, out of Silicon Valley, is our lead investor. Rishi Garg is the lead. He joined our board. They're amazing. And I actually ended up distanced, pitching like a room of, I think, 40 people.
Oh, wow. Like on Zoom?
No, in person. We were distanced and
socially distanced in the room.
Outdoors, and I drove up there and I did the whole, you know, I mean, it was, you know, if you're going to take a lot of money and you're going to go into partnership, you want to meet the people in person. So we did it safely and kind of consciously, but we did it. And I just stand up there and pitch.
And then when you were doing that, did you think, oh, I've got this in the bag? Or were you like, I don't know?
You know, I felt deeply connected to meeting every person. So there's a lot of ongoing conversations, and I've learned my lesson that like money is not money until it's in the bank. Like, you know, but I had a really good feeling. It felt really divine the whole time, that it was just like we were being seen for the, sorry, there's a car out there. We were being seen for the work that we're doing, and I felt their excitement. I felt the momentum, and I can usually feel like what direction it's going in. So it felt good.
So for the people in our chat, and hi Aaron, welcome. You are talking with Michelle Mitchell, and you're talking with Ashley from Quilt. She's the founder and CEO of Quilt, and we're excited to have her on. I'm actually gonna try to do a quilt this week, so you guys have to check out the app. And you said it was iOS.
Yes.
Yeah.
iOS. Yeah.
So for the people in the chat and for the people that are watching us, talk to them about that moment of like when they have an idea.
That you want to turn into a company?
Yeah, like what, like when you have an idea, like what is that like? Just talk about your experience. I mean, I know you like, you know, you're the founder, you're willing to take the risk. You know, if there's somebody that's out there that's like, I mean, even something as small as, should I start a blog? Like, you know what I mean? It's like an idea is an idea, and putting yourself out there is putting yourself out there, whether it's this big or this big. Sometimes it's the same leap.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really important to understand your why. And I like to start there. Because if you're not really connected to why you're doing it, you may move on from it quickly. Like you may be over it, and you can't get over. Like it's a lot of really hard work to start something, a blog, a group, anything. It's commitment, and nothing happens overnight. It's a really long journey. It sometimes looks like it does outwardly, but it doesn't. And so I think it's really important to be clear about why you're doing it, where it's like, is it coming from an authentic place? And then I have been stuck in my past with like analysis paralysis, or wanting to be perfect.
That's definitely something that I've stumbled on, and you know, wanting the video to be perfect before I put it up, wanting the post to be so perfect before I put it up, you know, just all that. Like, how do you move past that?
I think you just have to start doing something, even if it's really small, even if it feels just like an experiment, you know, whatever that looks like. If you want to get a blog up, have you even posted something on social that's like testing the title of that, or polling a group of people to even decide, should that be the title of this thing? You know, does this resonate with people? I think we think so big and we wanted to get it there, but there's so many little things that we can be doing to just be testing and iterating and learning, and just you're building a habit. You know, it's a daily practice to just get into that. And so a lot of it is, for me, I think about, what does proactivity look like, and what's the thing I can control? So what do I have influence over versus things I don't have influence over? So yeah, I think you end up having to just say like, I need to do this one thing daily. What does that one thing daily look like? It's very like the artist's way. It says, wake up and stream of conscious, write 3 pages, and just do that thing, or drink water in the morning. And I would say approach this like that, whatever the best time of day is for you. And some people do really well finding collaborators or other people that are in the exact same place, just to hold yourself accountable. We have a lot of people on Quilt who do that.
Well, I'm so glad that you said that, because that's one thing that I have learned about myself. And I, you know, I said this to somebody recently. I said, it's like, I don't want to cross the finish line by myself. Like, I don't want to be like, okay, I crossed the finish line and I'm all alone and I'm the winner. I've done that already. I've done that several times in my life, and it's not rewarding. It's like, I want to cross the finish line with a team. I want to cross the finish line and celebrate with other like-minded people. Yeah. And so, you know, I really, you know, I always thought of myself as a lone ranger, but I'm not. Like, if I really look back at all the times I was really successful, and all the times I enjoyed the projects, like really enjoyed them, like stayed up, you know, past midnight, but still happy about it, like, you know, working on it, was with a team and collaborating with other people. So I love that you said that, because you got to kind of identify how well, you know, what's the best environment for you.
Yeah, it's fun. it's fun to experience things with other people. I think the only advice that I have there, because I've collaborated with a lot of people before, I've had business partners before, be really clear about who you are and what you show up with and what you like to do. And then find people to collaborate with who have different gifts, you know, who are and are clear about what those gifts are. It can make it easier, because if you're starting something with someone or a group of people, you end up putting your backs to each other and like going and doing the thing and coming back and doing the thing. And if you all kind of do the same thing, it might not be so efficient.
Right, right.
So that would be the thing. I believe we're all born with really unique gifts. Know what that is. And if it brings you joy, do those things, and then find people that have other unique gifts.
Don't you think it's that that conditioning that we get? And I always think about the Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements. I mean, it's such a small, short book, but it's like I reference it all the time. And it's almost like all those gifts that we knew just kind of got conditioned out of us.
Yeah.
And then like we have to have like this remembering to come back to what is that gift? Yeah. And it takes a long time sometimes it takes a minute, you know. I think it's just how open you are to having that journey. Luis is asking us why is it called Quilt? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, so it originally came from a group of women sitting in a home, like writing a lot of ideas down on Post-it notes with me. To be honest, I was
so like a brainstorming meeting.
Yeah, it was a fun like an evening fun brainstorm, cooking dinner, just like spitballing, playing around, and we were kind of just building on ideas, and you get to a place of just like being cozy in a home, warmth, blanket, quilt came up. And as I dove more into that title and the name and the meaning of it, like culturally, quilting exists everywhere. There's such a format and a structure to it. It was always really about, it's like this feminine kind of experience of coming together, following it, sitting in a circle, sharing stories, being resourceful, keeping your family warm, protecting one another, just the whole weaving and threading together. Just the name Quilt was just like, thousands of names were shared that night, and we all kind of like perked up, and it was so clear the identity was attached like in that moment. And I just love it. The colors, the different shapes, the different sizes, what that all means.
I love how it came about, because it feels like, even if one person said the word quilt, I feel like the collective energy and the environment kind of made that come, and they just happened to be the messenger of that. So it was that.
Well, actually, it's funny. There are still two people still believe they said the name.
I love, because they did. I think energetically, like,
because they did, and I actually don't remember. So I know I didn't say it, and I'm happy to admit that. But there are two brilliant women that were like, I said it, and I was like, maybe, like we just kept like rallying, I mean. So like witchery, coven, like so many things were thrown out. Like, you're getting very spicy. So
well, I think it's that level of vibration to come up with something like that. Someone's asking about the book that I mentioned, and it's called The Four Agreements, and it's written by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's not a new book. It's been around for a long time. It's a short book, and it literally has 4 agreements in there.
Yep.
That will just change your life. It's amazing, and that is something that you can get on Amazon. So with what we're doing today, so did you have any idea what Sway TV was when I said come?
No, I felt so embarrassed because I'm just not that cool, and I'm working and living. I'm like under a rock, with my head down, and I'm like, I'm like coming up for air, and I'm like, there's this really cool thing that's been going on. I had no idea, so I'm so honored you brought me.
Well, I mean, it's kind of exciting, because I'll tell you, the person that told me to go on Quilt and said, Michelle, this is really kind of your thing, is our producer. Here at the studio. So
thank you.
Yeah, so he's like, hey, check it out. And what's so interesting is that what we do here is we have this multiple hosts, and we have like 10 plus hosts. And we live stream for, I don't know, we're I think we're the largest streaming platform on Amazon Live.
Wow.
And because we stream so much content, and we're different in the sense that we do talk about product, and we talk about product that's unique, that we like, that we understand, that helps us in our life. But our producer is really, his vision is to have helpful content, so to have interesting conversations, instead of just, hey, get this or get that, just to have stuff that people can use in their life, and become aware of. And so we've built a community here. And I think like some of the streams start at like 6:20 in the morning. We have like, we have Candace, and it's Get Ready with Candace. And then at 9:10, there's like circuit training. And, like today, I think they did that at 9:10. Then like 11, they had like the foam roller. And then at 1, there was the book club. And then here's you and I. And then after, tonight at 7:10, there's going to be the Art of Parenting with Marissa. And then tomorrow, like a whole nother lineup. So I thought it was interesting because what our producer has created here on Amazon Live, on Sway TV, feels really similar, but not same, to what you've created on Quilt. So I was really excited to make that connection.
Yeah.
And to make that happen. So it looks like Victoria started following us. So welcome, Victoria. Welcome to Sway TV. We are so happy to have you. I always say jump in the chat and join us, because this is how we know that you're there. And this is how we know that you're liking what we're doing, or we're able to answer any questions. If you guys have any questions for Ashley, jump in the chat, and put your questions out there. I'm going to tell you, this is the first time I've actually spoken to her and seen her face. We've done some emails, and she's an absolute powerhouse. I can see that from here. I'm hoping that she's going to actually come back and join us in studio next month, which would be awesome to do something like that. But if you guys have any questions for Ashley at all, jump in the chat and let us know. And then Ashley, while we're kind of waiting for people to jump in the chat, do you want to tell us a little bit about how we can support you on Sway, see, now I'm putting them together, on Quilt from Sway?
Yeah, listen, I mean, we got into the App Store at the end of January. We are intentionally, thoughtfully growing. We care a lot about making sure that the community experience is safe and is inclusive. So, you can come on, and really, I want to meet people. I love hearing other people's voices, other people's stories. There's so much that can come from that connection. So support for me and for Quilt right now looks like quilting, which is what coming into a conversation is. It's kind of become this verb, like meditating. But we do these morning sessions. It's a great way to wake up. And yeah, I could meet you. It's so cool that we're sitting here talking, and it came from me and you having just a live conversation. We would have never otherwise met.
Right.
I love that.
Oh, 100%. And then you guys watching us today on Amazon Live here on Sway TV, if you go on to Quilt, like, you can have a direct conversation with Ashley. You can.
Oh yeah. Come talk. I do a founder support circle on Fridays at 2 p.m. You don't have to be a founder. It really just is it's a support circle, and we're all creating something. So whether it's babies or blogs or products or relationships, we're founding something daily. So on Fridays, I do that at 2 p.m. On Mondays, I do a 3 p.m. all Pacific Standard Time, but I would really love to meet you.
Hi, Gina. Gina Capone is joining us. Gina, we are talking with Ashley from Quilt, and you're going to have to catch some of this on the replay because it's really, really good. I was just saying that I think I think that Ashley is a real powerhouse, and can, I see lots of stuff for us in the future. I have to tell you that it just feels like there's great connection and there's great alignment. And I want to have you here in the studio. and just kind of like share ideas like that post-it note night that you're talking about, like, you know, come up with some great stuff to support you and what you're doing. Erin's with us. Hi, Erin. Welcome for joining us on Sway TV Live today. Tell us one great story, like one quick story about Quilt that you want to leave us with.
Well, you mean like a conversation that's happened?
It could be a conversation that happened. Just one little thing you want to leave us with so that we walk away and we're like, okay, we've got that feeling of Quilt.
Yeah, well, I can say that there have been quite a few celebration moments. So it's a lot of people that will open a quilt will just have news, and they'll open a quilt and they'll share their news, like that they just found out that they're pregnant.
Oh, I love that.
Or that they got engaged, or that they got the job. And so they'll open the room titled that, or titled "I have a surprise," and then people will flood in and celebrate that with them. And if something like emotional has happened, people will come in and celebrate that. So our goal with Quilt is that everybody can leave feeling a bit better than when they came on, and celebrating and expressing oneself and just sharing these moments that you may not have somebody to share it with those are some of my favorite.
Okay, that was amazing. That definitely gave me the feeling of Quilt and understanding how that would, you know, just kind of build community and fill everybody up. And I want you guys all to go check out Quilt. You can find it in the App Store. I'm going to start a quilt. I'm going to start quilting. I want everybody to start quilting. Jump in and join us on Quilt. So I want to say thank you to Ashley for coming on, giving us her time. And I don't think this will be the last of Ashley that you will see here on Sway TV. You are welcome here anytime. So thank you, Ashley.
Thank you so much for having me. This was amazing. I can't wait to do it again, and I can't wait to keep talking with everyone.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.